Welcome to Read and Rise, a place where stories teach, heal, and inspire. If you're learning English and want to improve through real stories with subtitles, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you never miss a new story. Now sit back, relax, and let this story help you grow one word at a time. My name is Lena. I am 32 years old. I got married when I was 25. His name is Daniel. When we met, he was kind and calm. He worked as a photographer. I was working in a small bookstore. He would bring me flowers, real ones, not plastic. He listened to my stories. He laughed at my jokes. He told me, "Lena, I've never met someone like you." I believed him. After 1 year, we got married. It was simple, just close friends and a little music. I didn't need much, just love. At first, things were good. We traveled to the mountains. We watched movies on Friday nights. We shared everything. Or so I thought. Then small things started to happen. Sometimes he would be home late. He said, "Just a long project." But he didn't look tired. Once I found an old envelope in his drawer. It had someone else's name on it. The handwriting was not his. When I asked, he smiled and said, "Oh, that's from years ago, nothing important." So I let it go. I didn't want to be the kind of wife who checks everything. I wanted to trust. But one day, something changed. Daniel got a phone call. He didn't know I was standing behind him. He said, "No, she doesn't know. I can't tell her now." Then he turned. His face went pale. He looked at me like I wasn't supposed to hear that. And in that moment, I knew something was very, very wrong. After the phone call, Daniel tried to smile. He said, "It's just work, Lena, nothing serious." But I had already heard the words. "She doesn't know?" That night, I couldn't sleep. His voice kept repeating in my mind. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. But my heart was heavy. The next morning, he left early for a meeting. I watched him walk away with his usual calm. I sat on the sofa, and something inside me whispered, "Check the drawer." I never opened his private drawer before. It was small, always locked. But that day, I found the key. It was hidden behind a photo frame on his desk. With shaking hands, I opened it. Inside were letters, old ones, and photos. A photo of Daniel standing with a woman and a child. The woman had kind eyes. The child was smiling. On the back, in handwriting I didn't recognize, it said, "Your son's first birthday, love, Eliza." I stopped breathing for a second. Son? I didn't know Daniel had a child. He never told me. Not once in 7 years of marriage. I sat there holding the picture. Tears came slowly. Not loud, not wild, just slow and quiet. I didn't feel angry yet. Only confused. Who was Eliza? Where was this child? Why did Daniel hide this part of his life? When he came home that evening, I tried to act normal. He kissed my cheek and said, "You okay? You look tired." I smiled and said, "Just a long day." But inside me, a storm was starting. And I knew I needed to hear the truth. All of it. The next few days felt strange. Daniel acted normal, too normal. He asked about dinner, joked about work, even offered to take me to the movies. But I couldn't focus on anything. Not after seeing the picture. Not after reading the name Eliza. One night, I pretended to sleep on the couch. Daniel was in the kitchen on the phone again. I heard him say, "I'm trying. She doesn't know yet. Just give me more time." I stayed still. Then I heard him whisper, "Eliza, Please, don't call again. There it was. The name, Eliza. I wasn't supposed to hear it, but I had. I waited until he went upstairs, then sat alone in the dark. Eliza. Was she an ex? Was she the mother of his child? Why did he keep her a secret? And why did he still talk to her? The next morning, I opened my laptop. I searched her name, just once. I didn't expect to find much. But then a picture loaded on the screen. Her face. The same woman from the photo. Smiling. Standing in front of a school. Next to her, a young boy, about 7 or 8. Dark hair, sharp eyes. He looked like Daniel. It hit me like a wave. That boy, he wasn't just from the past. He was real. He was growing up. And Daniel was still part of his life. I closed the laptop. My hands were shaking. My chest was tight. It wasn't just about secrets anymore. It was about choices. Daniel had a child, and he chose to hide it from me for years. That evening, when he came home, I looked him in the eyes and asked, "Who is Eliza?" He froze, just like I thought he would. Daniel didn't answer right away. His face went pale. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. "Where did you hear that name?" he asked quietly. I kept my voice calm. "You said it on the phone, and I found the picture. I know about the child." There was a long silence. Then he sat down slowly, like the weight on his shoulders had grown heavier. "I was going to tell you," he said, "but I didn't know how. I was afraid." I waited. "Eliza and I were together before I met you," he said. "It wasn't serious at first. Then she got pregnant." He looked at me. "We weren't in love. We tried to make it work for the baby. But it didn't last. We agreed to raise him separately." I asked, "And you never thought I deserved to know?" He sighed. "When we met, everything felt new. I didn't want to scare you away. Then it became harder and harder to explain. Every time I thought of telling you, I got scared I'd lose you." I stared at him. "You didn't give me the choice," I said. He nodded. "I know, and I was wrong. I thought about the boy. He was innocent. He didn't choose to be hidden." I asked, "Do you see him often?" Daniel nodded. "I send money. I visit sometimes. Eliza and I agreed to keep it quiet for his sake. But now, I see that wasn't fair to you." I felt so many things: anger, sadness, betrayal, but also, strangely, a kind of relief. Finally, the truth was out. But I didn't know what to do with it. "I need time," I said softly. "Time to think, and space to breathe." Daniel didn't argue. He just said, "I'll wait." That night, I packed a small bag, not to run but to pause. Because sometimes, when trust is broken, you don't walk away in anger. You walk away in silence to hear your own heart again. I left the house the next morning, not with anger, but with questions I needed to answer on my own. I stayed at my sister's apartment. She didn't ask too much, just gave me tea and silence. Sometimes, silence is the best kind of support. For the first 2 days, I didn't touch my phone. No calls, no messages, just space. I walked through the park. I watched old couples feed birds. I sat by the lake with a book I didn't really read. My thoughts were louder than the pages. Was Daniel a bad man? No. But he had made a choice that hurt me. He hid something deeply personal, something that changed the picture of our life. On day 3, I opened my phone. One message from Daniel. "I'm here. I miss you. I'm sorry. I'll wait as long as you need." I didn't reply. Not yet. On day 5, I dreamed of the little boy from the photo. He had Daniel's eyes. He was holding a toy car. He looked up at me and said, "Do you know who I am?" I woke up in tears. By day 6, I started to write. Not to Daniel, to myself. I wrote, "You're not weak for walking away. You're strong for needing clarity. Love is not about pretending to be fine." By day 7, I packed my things. Not because I had made a final decision, but because I was ready to talk. Not as a wife, not as someone broken, but as someone who now knew. I sent him a message. "I'll be home tomorrow. Let's talk. Honestly this time." He replied in one word, "Okay." The next chapter wouldn't be easy, but no story worth telling ever is. When I walked through the front door, the house smelled like coffee and clean sheets. Daniel was in the kitchen. He didn't smile. He just looked at Malik. He wasn't sure if I was real. "Hi," I said quietly. "Hi," he replied. There was a moment of stillness. Not cold, just careful. We sat at the table. No distractions, no phones. Just two people married, hurting, and still hoping. He spoke first. "Thank you for coming back." I nodded. "I'm not here to forget. I'm here to understand." Daniel looked down. "I should have told you about my son the day we met. But I was afraid you'd think I was complicated, broken." I paused. "You are complicated. We all are." He looked up. There were tears in his eyes. "His name is Eli," he said. "He's 7. He likes space rockets and hates broccoli." I smiled just a little. Daniel continued, I never stopped loving you. Hiding Eli wasn't about you, it was about me. My fear, my shame." I took a breath. "You should have trusted me with your truth." "I know," he said. Then he asked the hardest question. "Do you still want to be with me?" I looked at the man I married. I remembered the laughter, the travels, the little moments. And I remembered the silence, the secrets. "I don't know," I said honestly, "but I know I want to meet Eli." Daniel looked surprised. "You do?" "If I stay," I said, "I won't pretend he doesn't exist. I want the whole story, not just the parts you show me." He reached across the table. Our fingers touched, like we were finding our way back slowly. That night, we didn't make promises. We didn't say forever. But we did agree on something powerful. No more secrets. Not ever again. 1 week later, I stood in front of a small house with a red door. Daniel was beside me. He looked nervous, more than I had ever seen him. "You don't have to do this if you're not ready," he said. I looked at him. "I am ready. I need to see him." He nodded. The door opened. A woman with kind eyes stood there. It was Eliza. She smiled. Not a fake smile, but the kind that says, "Thank you for coming." "You must be Lena," she said. "Yes," I replied. "Thank you for this." She stepped aside. Inside, the house was filled with toys and drawings. It smelled like cinnamon and crayons. Then I saw Himeli. He was sitting on the floor, building a tower with blocks. Daniel called softly, "Hey buddy, come here." Eli looked up. He ran to Daniel and hugged his legs. Daniel picked him up. "Eli, this is my friend, Lena." Eli looked at me with wide eyes. "Hi," he said. "Do you like space rockets?" I smiled. "I do. They're loud and fast and amazing." His face lit up. He ran to show me his favorite one, blue with orange flames on the side. For the next hour, we played on the floor. He showed me his drawings. I asked questions. He answered with laughter. There was no fear. No awkwardness. Only curiosity and light. Eliza watched quietly from the kitchen. Later, she sat beside me and said, "He's a good kid, and Daniel is a good dad. I know this is strange for you, but I'm glad you're here." I nodded. I don't know what the future looks like, but I think it needs to include Eli. She smiled. He needs people who care. That's all that matters. When we left, Eli waved from the window. In the car, Daniel took my hand. "Thank you," he whispered. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like we weren't just surviving, we were beginning again. The days after meeting Eli felt different. I wasn't just Daniel's wife anymore. Now, I was someone with a new piece of truth and a new little person in my heart. We started small. Every Saturday, Daniel and I would visit Eli. Sometimes at the park, sometimes at Eliza's house. Eli would run to us with a toy in one hand, and a story in the other. "Look what I made. Guess what I saw at school? Can we play spaceship again?" His energy was endless, and slowly, so was my affection for him. Daniel smiled more now. Not the forced, careful smile, but the real one. The kind that came from being whole again. One evening, we brought Eli to our house for the first time. He ran from room to room, touching everything, asking questions. "Is this your bedroom? Can I draw on the fridge? Why is your couch so soft? We made spaghetti. He spilled juice." We laughed. It felt normal. After he went to bed, Daniel and I sat on the sofa in silence. But it was a good silence. "This feels right," I said. "It does," Daniel replied. "But are you okay?" I looked at him. This isn't the life I planned. But maybe it's the life I was meant to grow into. He leaned in. "I want to do this together, as a team, as a family." We didn't need perfect answers. We just needed honest effort. And every time Eli said, "Lena, watch this," or "Can I sit with you?" my heart said yes louder each time. We were still figuring it out, still healing, still learning. But step by step, we were becoming something new, a different kind of family, but a real one. It was a sunny Sunday afternoon. Eli was sitting at the kitchen table, coloring a picture of a rocket ship. Daniel was fixing something under the sink. I was washing dishes, half listening to Eli hum to himself. Then he asked softly, but clearly, "Lena, are you my stepmom?" I froze. I hadn't heard that word come from him before. Slowly, I dried my hands and sat across from him. "Why do you ask that?" I said gently. He shrugged. "Because you come with Dad, and you make spaghetti, and you hug me goodnight." I smiled a little. "Do you want me to be your stepmom?" He thought for a second, then nodded. "I think so. You're nice and you don't talk to me like a baby." My heart felt like it grew 3 sizes. Daniel came out from under the sink, wet and confused. "What's going on?" Eli grinned. "I just asked Lena if she's my stepmom. She said maybe." Daniel looked at me. I nodded, just slightly. That evening, after Eli had gone home, Daniel and I sat outside on the porch. He held my hand. "You're amazing with him," he said. "He's easy to love," I replied. Then Daniel said something I didn't expect. "We could make this official one day if you want. Papers, legal stuff. Being a stepmom isn't just emotional, it's real." I thought about it. I wasn't ready to make it official yet, but I wasn't afraid of it either. Because for the first time, I wasn't walking in confusion or betrayal. I was walking into something I chose. Not something Daniel hid, but something we built together. And Eli, with his messy drawings and rocket questions, had become part of my story too. It was a quiet Thursday evening. Daniel was up buying groceries. I was reading on the couch when my phone rang. "Eliza." I had never spoken to her alone before. I answered, feeling unsure. Hello? Hi, Lena. Sorry to call out of the blue. No, it's okay. Is everything all right? She paused. Yes, Eli's fine. I wanted to talk to you. Woman to woman. That made me sit up straighter. Sure. What's on your mind? Eliza spoke softly, carefully. I see the way Eli looks at you. He's grown attached. I care about him, I said honestly. I know you do. That's why I'm calling. You've stepped into something complicated. And you've done it with grace. I felt my chest warm. That meant more than I expected. But then she continued. There's something you should know. I don't want this to be a surprise later. My heart skipped. Okay. When Eli was born, Daniel wasn't there. Not for the birth. Not for the first 6 months. He came back later, said he was scared. He needed time to be ready. I stayed quiet. I forgave him, she said. But it took years to trust him again. I took a breath. Why are you telling me this now? Eliza replied. Because I know what it's like to feel left out of the truth. And I think you deserve all the pieces, not just the clean ones. There was silence. Then I said, Thank you, Eliza. That means more than you know. Before she hung up, she added, Eli loves you. Just don't promise him forever unless you really mean it. Her voice wasn't angry, just honest. When Daniel came home, I didn't tell him right away. I needed time to sit with the truth, to let it settle. Because love isn't just about what you feel. It's about what you choose when the whole truth is finally in your hands. I didn't sleep much that night. Eliza's words echoed in my mind. Don't promise him forever unless you really mean it. Was I ready for forever? With Daniel? With Eli? I watched Daniel sleep beside me. His face was peaceful, like a boy. Not the man who had lied. Not the man who had run from his past. Just a man, trying to do better. In the morning, we sat at the kitchen table. No coffee, no small talk. Eliza called me, I said. Daniel blinked. She told me, You weren't there when Eli was born. He nodded slowly. I was scared, I panicked, I didn't know how to be a father. I know, I said. But it matters. It matters that you left. And it matters that you came back. He looked ashamed. I'm not proud of it. I'm not asking for perfection, Daniel. I'm asking for truth. He nodded again. You have it now, all of it. No more hiding. I took a deep breath. Then I choose to stay. His eyes widened. You do? Yes, not because it's easy, but because I believe people can change. And because I see how much you love him. And me. He reached for my hand. We didn't cry. We didn't say dramatic words, but something changed. Not loudly, not suddenly, but deeply. That weekend, we took Eli to the beach. He ran into the waves, laughing, falling, standing up again. Daniel chased him. I watched. And in that moment, I didn't feel like a woman who had been lied to. I felt like a woman who had walked through fire and come out holding something real. Not perfect, but real. Years from now, if someone asks me, what made you stay? I won't say, because it was easy. I'll say, because love is not just what survives the truth. It's what chooses to grow after it. Daniel and I still have hard days. Sometimes we misunderstand each other. Sometimes the past comes up. But now we talk. Really talk. Eli is older now. He's 8, almost 9. He has a shelf full of space books, a wild imagination, and a heart that loves big. One night, he gave me a drawing. It showed 3 people. One had long hair, me, One had glasses, Daniel. One had a rocket in his hand, Eli. At the top he wrote, my family. I stared at that word, family. It didn't come with rules. It didn't require perfect beginnings. It just meant showing up every day, with your whole heart. One day maybe I'll tell Eli the full story, about secrets, about mistakes, about the long road to honesty, but I'll tell it carefully. Because the story is no longer about broken trust. It's about how love can rebuild. Stronger, slower, but more honest than ever before. And when I look at my life now, I no longer see a mess of mistakes. I see a story worth telling. One I'll keep writing, one day at a time.